city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothus Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. The brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Those pin cushions been living off the ankle gator scraps. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. He holds his ground. Seems the queen's running out of options. One bad step in that tall grass and he's Queen Anne's lunch. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Those leaping lunkheads don't like Queen Anne any better than the kid. Queenie must have scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? You use a kid as bait. The shard's sitting in plain view. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. She's starting to get annoyed. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. Rest in peace, Queen Anne. That was for the brushers. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. All that trouble for a single shard. But you know what? It was worth it. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. It wasn't fixed, it was unbroken. That gator's a crazy gal, but so is the gal who promised to look after her. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. The next shard should be farther out there in the wilds. Know how Caelondia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. The army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. The grand rail of Point Lemaine. Not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices. but he can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Grand rails all grown over with things the Calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Kid don't let so much as one of those things slip by. Lunkheads settled in like they own the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers and coughing fungus everywhere. Of course, the Grand Rails see much more fighting in bygone times. The Ura-Ceylondian War, 50 years ago, doomed to happen again. It was right here that Zulf's Ura forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store for it. All the rotten wood there on the rails turned it into swamp weed central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? While choking on swamp weed. While peggers trying to prick you in the eye. Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. Then, at last, it's the end of the line. He'll be picking swamp weed out of those boots for days. Not much wiggle room up there near the rail. Turns out he's got company up at the rail station, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower or pincushion, mind you. At first, he thinks it's Zulf. Turns out he's wrong. "This is for you," says the man. Then wham. When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. The only words kid recognizes on that parchment are for Zia. Well, what's the kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. Zolf's messenger was one of his people. Wonder just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zolf told him. Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zolf. The shards are getting harder to find. Not everything blew up in the calamity. Why, Colford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Colford Cauldron. Sure, we dusted off a good many secrets out here, but we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. The taste of air so hot it sticks to your lungs. All sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. The more ash we swept aside, the more light we found. Place as inhospitable as they come. But still we pressed on. After all, when we looked down inside Colford Cauldron, looked down through all the smoke and flames, we saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Jawson Bog. Luckily, the cauldron cooked up a little shortcut for him. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Pops open on him like a pimple on a school day. But where there's one stink eye, there's always more. The cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. The kid don't shed any tears for him. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. It comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. Seems the gods recommended this place to all their friends. They said the wild could never be tamed. If only they could see us now. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. We spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan.